Newcastle tell Alexander Isak he will not be sold this summer, leaving one-away Liverpool target furious. Eddie Howe has discussed the star striker's future. Newcastle have told Alexander Isak that he will not be allowed to leave the club this summer, according to reports. Isak has been embroiled in a transfer saga for most of the window as he tries to force through a move to Liverpool. The Reds have already seen a £110 million bid for the Swedish striker turned down by Newcastle. Now, according to the Telegraph, Isak has been informed that he will not be sold in a show of defiance from the club's Saudi Arabian ownership. It is claimed that Isak has been left furious by the decision and will not be played by Eddie Howe until he is able to come to terms with the fact that he will be denied a move this summer. The Saudi Public Investment Fund PIF have remained steadfast in their stance that Isak isn't for sale for the entire window. Liverpool were understood to be aware of their strong position when they decided to lodge their £110 million bid. Manager Howe has ordered Isak to train away from the group in the midst of the uncertainty surrounding his future. Isak returned to former club Real Sociedad to train alone earlier in the summer when he wasn't part of Newcastle's preseason tour of Asia due to the speculation. He has since returned to the Magpies training facility but is yet to work with the rest of the group. Howe said on Friday that it is clear that he can't involve Isak in team training at the moment. He explained, "We've had discussions and it's clear at the moment that we can't involve him with the group." Isak still has 3 years remaining on his deal on Tyneside. Newcastle Chiefs have reportedly tried to offer him a new deal, with some claims suggesting it would include a release clause for next summer. The club have been looking for a new striker of their own this summer, losing out on the signing of Hugo Ekitike to Liverpool and Benjamin Sesko to Manchester United. It is reported that, should Newcastle bring in a new striker, they will still maintain their position that Isak is not for sale. Newcastle are yet to discipline Isak, with it suggested that they hope to reintegrate him into the group once the smoke clears. Alexander Isak transfer news. Eddie Howe says Liverpool target cannot train with Newcastle squad but still has future at club. Eddie Howe has said Alexander Isak cannot currently rejoin the first-team squad and is set to miss their Premier League opener at Aston Villa, but insists he still has a future at the club. Magpies rejected an opening offer of £110 million plus add-ons from Liverpool. Newcastle boss Eddie Howe insists Liverpool transfer target Alexander Isak still has a future at St. James' Park but says the striker cannot currently be involved with the squad and will miss their Premier League opener with Aston Villa. Isak was back at Newcastle's facility on Monday morning, having missed their preseason tour and trained away from the rest of the squad. As instructed by Howe, the Magpies rejected an opening offer of £110 million plus add-ons from Liverpool on August 1st. After Isak told the club he wanted to explore his options in the transfer window, Isak was not involved in Newcastle's penultimate friendly of the summer against Espanyol, a 2-2 draw which saw William Osula start up front, with Howe refusing to put a timeline on when the Sweden international would return to the first-team fold. Howe does not expect any resolution to the situation before their season opener at Villa Park next Saturday. He said on Friday, "I'd want Alex to be playing today. I'd want him training tomorrow. We would love the player to be with us. Let me make that absolutely clear. There's no part of me that doesn't want that outcome, but I don't see that changing before Aston Villa, the current situation we're in." Speaking further after the friendly at St. James' Park, Howe said he had been in talks with Isak about finding a resolution. "We've had discussions and it's clear at the moment we can't have him involved with the group," said Howe. "I don't know how long that will be for. It's clear I can't involve him with the team at the moment. He is training later than the rest of the squad. There have been discussions since the tour. I don't think disciplinary action has happened." When pushed for an answer on whether Isak has a future at the club, Howe added, "He is here, so of course he has a future at Newcastle. From our perspective, we would love to have him back with the team, but the situation has to be right for that to happen." Isak had previously been training at his former club Real Sociedad's headquarters on his own. After missing Newcastle's preseason tour of Asia, asked if the club could simply dig in their heels and refuse to sell their star frontman, Howe said, "I don't think it's that straightforward. Otherwise, we'd have done that a long time ago. I don't think we're in a position to do that currently. I don't want to go into too much detail because I don't think that's right. I think I've said enough." The club's failure to sign players has sparked suggestions. Saudi Arabia's public investment fund, owning 85%, is less engaged. However, Howe, who admitted the Isak situation has unsettled a previously united squad, was unequivocal in his denial. He said, "The owners are very much engaged, as much as they always have been. This has been a challenging period where there'll be a lot of different opinions on different subjects. But I can assure everybody connected with Newcastle that the owners are very much behind the project and fighting every day for the club. How previously warned, no player could expect to act poorly and train with group as normal. How has not closed the door on Isak'S one day representing Newcastle again. But the head coach stressed on Friday that the situation had to be right for that to happen. We've had discussions and it's clear at the moment that we can't involve him with the group, he said after Newcastle's 2-2 draw in a friendly against the Espanyol. I don't know how long that will be for, but that's the latest. How confirmed Isak'S, who has no current fitness issues, had not been disciplined, but the Sweden international has been instructed to train at a later time to the rest of his teammates in Newcastle. I'd want Alex to be playing today, Howe added just 8 days before the season opener at Aston Villa. I'd want him training tomorrow. We'd love the player to be with us. Let me make that absolutely clear. There's no part of me that doesn't want that outcome, but I don't see the current situation changing for Aston Villa. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Real Madrid willing to offer Rodrigo in straight swap for Arsenal defender William Saliba after Spanish giants make Frenchman top centre-back target. Real Madrid are reportedly considering offering Rodrigo to Arsenal in a straight swap deal for William Saliba. What happened? According to Defensa Central, Madrid are prepared to let Rodrigo leave the club this summer, and their top centre-back target is Arsenal star Saliba. Although Liverpool's Ibrahima Konate may be more gettable as his contract expires next summer. A swap for Rodrigo and Saliba has not been ruled out by Los Blancos. The bigger picture, while Madrid may be open to letting the Brazilian forward leave, Arsenal have no intention of Saliba departing the club for the foreseeable future. Indeed, the France international said he is hopeful of signing a new deal with the Gunners soon. But few can resist the temptation to join Madrid if the Spanish giants come calling. Did you know? The report adds that the 24-year-old Rodrigo is considered expendable at Madrid, as evidenced by his bit-part outings at this summer's Club World Cup. Meanwhile, Los Blancos are said to see Saliba as a generational candidate for their centre-back positions. What next? It remains to be seen if Madrid will make a move for either Saliba or Konate, and if Rodrigo will stay at the Santiago Bernabeu when the transfer window shuts in a matter of weeks. Before then, Arsenal take on an athletic club on Saturday in their final pre-season game. According to what he reports Central Defense, Los Blancos are willing to allow Rodrigo to leave this summer. While their main target for the defense department is Arsenal star Saliba, although Liverpool's Ibrahima Konate is seen as a more accessible alternative. As his contract expires next summer, a swap between Rodrigo and Saliba has not been ruled out by Real Madrid. However, while Madrid may be open to letting the Brazilian striker leave, Arsenal have no intention of letting Saliba leave in the near future. Read to the transfer that cost Real Madrid €30 million leaves without playing a single match. In fact, the French defender himself has recently stated that he has high hopes of renewing his contract with the Londoners soon. However, few players resist the temptation to join Real Madrid if the Spanish giants come knocking on the door. The report also adds that Rodrigo, 24, is considered expendable by Real, which was also reflected in his limited role at the Club World Cup this summer. Meanwhile, Saliba is seen by club leaders as a distinguished defender of the generation, who could significantly strengthen Real Madrid's central defense in the coming years. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe. Arne Slot outlines Rio N'Gumoha plans as Liverpool transfer concern played down. Liverpool has broken its transfer record this summer, but the name on everybody's lips in preseason has been Rio N'Gumoha. There's precious little more exciting in soccer than a moment of realization that you may have a superstar in your hands, a sensation that has been spreading around Anfield pitch. There have been some comparisons to Raheem Sterling and his rapid rise through the ranks, but apart from anything else, Liverpool is in a far better state now than it was when he emerged. It will therefore be up to Arne Slot to manage N'Gumoha's talents appropriately, making sure there is sufficient game time on offer if the teenager remains at Anfield for the season ahead as expected, because there seems little doubt that he is ready to make an impact at Premier League level. It's a vindication of Liverpool's youth transfer policy, made all the sweeter by the fact that Chelsea was left livid at losing such a special talent. With the departure of Luis Diaz, there is only Cody Gakpo standing directly in the way of N'Gumoha on the left wing as things stand. New signings Florian Wirtz and Hugo Ekitike can both play there, but it's not difficult to imagine that there will be situations where Slot favors a more orthodox winger, and the head coach has reiterated that he views N'Gumoha as a legitimate option. Speaking in a press conference ahead of the Community Shield, he questioned exactly what it means to be a senior option in attack. I don't know what senior players exactly means. Does that mean you play for your country or you're a certain age? Because a player like Rio showed in the last few games he played for us that at senior level, he can make an impact as well. Slot told assembled journalists. He did admit that Liverpool is always looking at opportunities in the transfer market as well. Alexander Isak would represent another world-class attacker, at least indirectly standing in the way of Ingu Moha's minutes, while there have also been links to out-and-out wingers like Bradley Barcola and Rodrigo. But as well as name-checking Ingu Moha, Slot rattled off the names of Gakpo, Ekitike Wirtz, Mohamed Salah, Federico Chiesa, and even Jeremy Frimpong. Despite the latter primarily featuring as a fullback, he clearly feels that with the teenager factored into the equation, Liverpool has a reasonable array of options even without further transfer business. Slot also went into some more detail about the plan for Ingu Moha and how Liverpool can help him to manage the increased hype. He pointed to the role of senior teammates that is sometimes difficult. Slot conceded, when asked about dealing with the pressure, you never know how an individual handles that situation. But it was a year ago when Trainioni scored a goal against Sevilla when he was also maybe 17. Very young, they have an incredible chance to work and be every day around players like Virgil, Van Dijk, Mo Salah, and all these others to see what they do, to be ready to perform every 3 days. And that is a step these players definitely have to make, which is completely normal if you're 16 or 17. It's already nice that they can play once a week at a good level, and we just try to develop them in the best way we can. But we also have to take care of them because new players that come in that are 23, 24, 22, already experienced that the intensity levels are quite high, either during the games or in training sessions, let alone for players that are 16 and coming through the academy. As ever in youth development, it is a tightrope between exposing players to an elite environment and exposing them to enough game time. If a player is not quite ready to make the grade, a loan tends to be the better choice. But Slot is planning with Ingu Moha on board. He deems him ready to make his mark, and whatever else may happen in the transfer market, that is an exciting prospect. Despite the presence of some flashy new signings, 16-year-old wonderkid Rio Ngoma has been the talk of Liverpool's undefeated preseason campaign. The former Chelsea man has dazzled with a pair of solo goals and may force himself into head coach Arne Slot's plans for the upcoming campaign. Other members of the Liverpool side have taken notice. Jeremy Frimpong, who only joined from Bayer Leverkusen earlier this summer, has already coined a nickname for the Dibbly winger. That's Mr. 01 versus 1 right there, the Dutchman said when he saw Ngama in the most recent LFC All-Red video. The nickname doesn't come out of the blue. Both of the 16-year-old's goals this season have come from Mazy solo dribbly runs where he takes on a slew of defenders by himself. Who is in Maha? He was a product of the Chelsea Academy before bolting for Liverpool last summer when his contract ended. He spent most of last season playing for the Reds Premier League 2 side, scoring twice. He became the youngest player in Liverpool history to start a competitive game when he lined up against Accrington Stanley in the third round of last year's FA Cup. Ngoma registered a goal and an assist against Athletic Bilbao at Anfield on Monday, completing both of his dribble attempts and 15 of 17 passes. He scored another goal in his previous game against Yokohama in Japan, and logged an assist and completed 3 of 4 dribbles against Milan before that. Liverpool seemingly have a hole at left wing after selling Luis Diaz, another dribbler and ball carrier who profiles eerily similar to Ngoma. That slot could fill with the young England. The Reds have also been linked with a pair of blockbuster late window signings this week who could also patch the gap. PSG's Bradley Barcola and Real Madrid's Rodrigo. Slot simultaneously praised Ngama and poured cold water on the hype train when asked about the wonder kid in Japan. We've only played 2 games over her, and we haven't played against Premier League opponents yet. But I see him train, I see him play, and the impact he has when he trains and plays is really promising. The Dutch manager told James Paratici of The Athletic, playing in the Premier League, playing every 3 days, with the Champions League games in between, that's something else. But he's definitely a player who shows at this moment in time that if he keeps bringing these performances in, then tonight against Yokohama F. Marinos definitely won't be the last time he plays a few minutes for Liverpool. It's all about consistency. He needs to show it every single day we're on the pitch. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.